This isn't some sort of joke, you know. This is my birthday.
Hello and welcome to Spookies, where we go boots on the ground exploring Scotland. And today is a wee bit of a special one, as we celebrate 2 years since our first Spookies video. Can you believe it? Since it's the channel's 2-year anniversary, I thought we'd share something interesting all the way from the top of Scotland, from the Orkney Islands. Something a wee bit different to celebrate this moment. To get there, as you've been seeing, we travelled across with our wee car and a ferry, the Humnavoe. We then stayed on the mainland at Orkney, at a place called Stromness, for a few nights, giving us 2 full days to explore. We used one of those days to visit the island of Hoy and the Dwarfie Stane. We made a video on this last year, well worth checking out if you haven't already. It was actually one of the main reasons I wanted to visit Orkney in the first place. However, I soon realised that Orkney was filled with so much to see that we had to pick carefully. So here's some of the things we saw on that second day. These are the remaining standing stones of Stane. I say remaining because there was once many more of these. In fact, it is said that there was actually 12. Now sadly, there are just 4 remaining. The accepted history of these stones is that they are a Neolithic monument. As Historic Environment Scotland says, the stones of Stane may be the earliest henge monument in the British Isles, built about 5,400 years ago. Their function is unclear, but our best guess is that they were involved in activities and ceremonies celebrating the relationship between living and past communities. They continue on saying that the monument was dated around 3100 to 2900 BC by radiocarbon analysis of bones found in the ditch surrounding the monument. No longer visible, the ditch would have been at least 4 metre wide and 2 metre deep and was cut into the bedrock. The stones were arranged in an oval shape about 30 metre in diameter, set within this enclosure. Now I don't know much about these places, but I've always wondered if they could be the remains of some really old structures, perhaps the largest and last pieces to be pillaged and reused. If we look to Maze Howe, which is actually this hobbit house looking mound less than a mile away, there's a great example of what I mean. Sadly, we didn't actually get to visit there ourselves this time, but I hope we will in the future. Anyway, in Maze Howe, which is said to be a chambered tomb, there are similar though smaller stones being used in the construction. Look at this. And by the way, this is meant to have been constructed about 5,000 years ago, remember? Astonishing condition, right? See how these appear like standing stones though? What if the stones of Stane are all that's left of a similar construction after all the other smaller stones were taken away for other purposes? It's just a thought, but with Maze Howe being so nearby, I thought it made sense, and you just never know. That's incredible, eh? It really is incredible, isn't it? And to think it's so old too. Anyway, looking back to Maze Howe, that nearby Teletubbies house, I found an article mentioned on nesofbrogdr.co.uk that actually acknowledged these as being standing stones, highlighting their atypical use in construction. Perhaps it wasn't so atypical after all. What do you think these circles were originally built for? Please leave your thoughts in the comments. Cheers. Anyway, here's some pictures that we took with the stones, and you can really see the size comparison with a person. Incredible, right? These will be our final sights before we get moving on to our next spot, so please do let us know what you think about the area. Cool, right? See. Makes you wonder, eh? Yeah. Look at that thing. It's like plugged up with it. So, although we're moving on from these standing stones, we'll be seeing some others later, and you can actually get a wee glimpse at them there in the distance. First though, we're off to find a chambered cairn. should. Foxy Stoat. Let's do it. Hey Bex, you enjoying it? I don't think so. It's quite a hill, eh? Do you think that goes to the cairn? So here we are at what is known as Wideford Hill Chambered Cairn. Look at these guys. Historic Environment Scotland say this one was built some 5,000 years ago. Quote, on an artificial terrace on a steep hillside. It's placed on a conspicuous location with views out across wide Firth and other Orkney islands. Interestingly, they note that the cairn was filled in during prehistory and likely robbed of any content by the time it was investigated in the late 1800s. They also say that this is a fine example of a chambered cairn with its layout, which consists of a narrow entranceway, a central chamber with its side walls reaching almost 3 metres in height, and 3 complex side cells, and we're going to get a look inside that just now. Today though, you can't enter through the front. Instead, there's a modern entrance on the roof, which we'll get a look inside in just a second. What a view they have for you here. Speaking of views though, here's some pictures that we took of the outside of this thing before we jump inside. Look what we just found. How cool is that? And it's funny because we left our torch in the back in the accommodation.
Please let it work. No. Oh, it does work.
Hey! Let's go try it. Entry hatch. You up for coming in?
Yeah.
Right. Looks like you need to walk up. Too bad walking on it. Cool to open.
Yeah.
Cool. You look good? Coming in. See what it's like. Wow, look at that. That's impressive, eh?
It looks slippery, so.
Yeah.
Like, be very careful. 3 points of contact, Stephen. Always free. Oh well.
Nice.
Yes?
Yeah.
Right, please don't slip, Vicky. Not that hard.
There we go. Wow, look at that. A mention from 1880. PC. Maybe it's Pocock. This torch isn't that great. There we go. Oh wow. How impressive is this stuff, isn't it? Remember, the official story says that this is from around 2000 BC. I absolutely love being able to visit these places and just imagine who's been here before. Although the official story says that these are chambered tombs, I can't help my mind wandering a little bit, especially with all the effort that must have went into these. There's the entrance. I also think it's interesting that the entrances and passageways are so small, something it has in common with the nearby Dwarfie Stane and Mazehow. So I can't help myself wondering if these could have originally been made for and by a smaller being, or maybe for some unknown functional purpose. Tomb or not, it's a fascinating place, that's for sure. Wow. That's one chamber. And we got this one. And there's mentions all over the place in here, Bex. There's an 1880 one back there. Yeah. Shame everyone feels the need to leave their mark. Oh, wow. This one opens up, Bex. See this one? So we've got this. Wonder what's for. So we're actually just about to leave the cairn, but before we do, here's some pictures that I took on the inside. I think they really show off a little bit better because I managed to get the flash going. It's pretty impressive stuff, don't you think? Anyway, we're about to get a move on to our final location, so please enjoy these final few moments from the cairn.
Do you want me to take care of it?
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, your knees.
I know, it's covered in mud.
B. Oh shit. Nice. Okay.
Yes. Wow. Another one done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Back to the car. That's right, we finally made it back to the car. So let's go to this video's final stop, the Ring of Brodgar. The Ring of Brodgar. There it is in the distance. Hey, Bex. So this is the Ring of Brodgar stone circle in Henge, and it's only a short distance from where we saw the Stane Ness standing stones earlier. This one, however, is much larger. Historic Scotland says there's been limited archaeological investigations here, so they don't actually know its age, but they do give it a guess to somewhere between 2600 and 2400 BC. Like many similar sites, they say this may have been used for ceremonial purposes, of course, celebrating the relationship between the living and past communities. They also say that it's been suggested that the sites in the surrounding area were used for observation of the moon from the Ring of Brodgar, whilst noting that there's little evidence for the activities the Neolithic people did at this site or why. Sadly, we weren't permitted to walk within the circle as there were signs asking us not to, so we chose to respect them. What do you think this place could originally be for? I wonder. I don't doubt it was used for ceremonies and all sorts of things throughout time. But I wonder what brought it into existence. How did it actually come to be? Who built it and why? It's the Ring of Midges. Yeah.
We want the wind back.
What was the wind going? Awesome. Look at the size of it. That's right. One thing was certain about this place. The midges absolutely loved it, and we were getting bitten to shreds. That didn't stop us from enjoying our time here though. What a place. And it seems someone else who enjoyed it is none other than Spookies regular Richard Pocock, who you might have heard us mention earlier. Richard was an English-born clergyman and writer, as Wikipedia puts it, but he's probably best known for his travel writings. In the 1700s, Richard did 3 tours of Scotland, and he actually happened to pass through here in his 1760 tour, would you believe it? Pocock doesn't mention anything called the Ring of Brodgar, to be fair, but he does speak about travelling by horse from the north between the 2 lochs before coming to, quote, a very grand druid temple. I think he's speaking about what we know today as the Ring of Brodgar. Pocock was nice enough to leave us a wee sketch while saying, quote, we came to a very grand druid temple. some of the stones of which are 15 feet high, from 3 to 6 feet broad, and 15 feet apart. There were about 60 of them, but many lay on the ground, and there are cavities wherein most probably some of them stood. End quote. Right enough, they say that the Ring of Brodgar originally had 60 stones, just as Pocock described back in 1760. So this druid temple is the Ring of Brodgar. Amazing, right? Just another place that Pocock already beat us to it, eh? After he stopped here, he also passed by the standing stones of Stane, it appears, as he writes, quote, "We crossed over the narrow pass which joins two parts of the loch on stones laid like a weir. I was assured there was no salmon in the loch, but they have a large kind of trout. Soon afterwards, we came to another circle of stones." Pocock included this sketch where you can see the stones in the distance. If you look at this screenshot I took on Google Maps, you can kinda see the resemblance there. Although it looks like he was maybe at a different angle. Sadly, some of the stones that Pocock saw were later destroyed in the 1800s, such as the Odin stone that featured a hole in it. Looking back to the stones at the Ring of Brodgar though, I still wonder what originally they were for. Are they a druid's temple as Pocock believed, or are they something yet to be considered? Could this be part of an ancient structure, or were these placed here for something else, maybe for ceremonial purposes? What do you think? Whatever they're for, they're just one of the mysterious and wondrous things to be found on these islands, and I absolutely love it. Thanks for joining us on this wee 2-year special. Hopefully we'll be back for 3 years. Oh, and look, we saw these fish jumping out the water nearby. Maybe it's the trout Pocock mentioned. Just in time too, because it wouldn't be a Spookies video without a wee bit wildlife, would it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this wee trip to Orkney. It's been a wee bit different to some of our usual adventures, but I wanted to make sure to mark the 2-year milestone, so I hope you liked it. And if you did, please do give it a wee like. Or why not subscribe to join us for more future adventures? Or maybe even check out the channel for more, because we've got a nice wee collection there now. Hopefully you'll see us on the next one. Thanks again, and cheerio!